Good morning. We will continue through the Sermon on the Mount this Sunday. We're into chapter 7. For those of you who are counting, this is the last chapter of that wonderful set of verses and preaching that Jesus did for us. So we'll hear him speak on Sunday, verses 1 through 6 of chapter 7. If you want to read ahead, that always helps you prepare for worship, and it's helpful to the preacher. I love to know that people are thinking about what's going to be said, are involved in the conversation and in the process. So hope you'll do that. This is about judging this week. Do not judge. And he speaks on that, and he gives us some parameters about that. But to be honest, I would rank that one up there with some of his hardest sayings. To not judge goes against most things we have learned in life. And it goes against many of our instincts to not judge. What does he mean by that? He said some hard stuff to us in this sermon and even beyond in other places. Love your enemies. That's hard. Go the second mile. In everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. Don't be driven by your anxieties, we talked about last week. And this coming week, do not judge. And you know that's almost impossible. From our youngest moments, we have learned to evaluate people. We size them up. We are taught to use our intuition to feel out situations. We teach our children and our grandchildren, be a good judge of character. Make good choices based on good judgment. Someone has said we're all umpires at heart. We like to call balls and strikes on somebody else. And that's just the way we are. It's the way we've been trained, taught, conditioned. And we know that as we go through this life, people are also judging us. They do. And we worry about that sometimes. What do people think of us? When people see us, what do they see? We learn how to avoid conflict and unpopular opinions because it's not worth the trouble to be judged. So we kind of keep our mouths shut sometimes because we don't like the difficulty of someone's judgment on us. It was H.G. Wells, Time Machine author, that said, "The voice of our neighbor speaks more loudly to us than the voice of God." So we care about what people think about us. That's just in us too. Adults judge all day long. Teens certainly do. They're constantly worried about their hair, their clothes, their friends, whether something's cool or uncool. Adults follow that pattern in a little bit of a different way. A lot of it has to do with externals, where we live, what we drive, etc. So Jesus says, don't judge, and so we have to at least put that in a category that's serious. He must mean it. What's he talking about? And I think if we narrow it down on Sunday in the spiritual category, we're going to find that he's really talking about condemning. Do not condemn. You don't have any room to give condemnation, he's saying, and aren't you glad that you don't receive condemnation from God? And so judgment in Jesus' eyes would be when we invalidate someone, when we critique someone to the point that they are less than human, they are less than worthy. So let's talk about it Sunday. He's given us a lot of things to think about in this sermon. He's brief here in these few verses, and yet it's so powerful for us to think about something that really is a spiritual problem in our age, judging. Hope you'll think about that with me, and hope you'll be there on Sunday. Have a great rest of the week.